Hello everybody, this is Johnny S with another happy game review. Today, as you can see at the background, we're going to talk about Soulstone. Soulstone Survivors. I have done a review previously for this game, but how can I say this? I undervalued it, I underestimated, whatever you want to call it. I have been trying many different games, and like I've mentioned in the past, and I'll make this also like a little bit of a like a small introduction, because I am quite old. I'm 44 years old, married guy with a kid. I don't have the time to play a lot, and you know, work, job and everything, it's quite busy. So I do play possibly 1 hour, 2 hours, and usually I play games which they can be left open on the computer. So I might be doing something, I come, I have a smoke, I play a little bit as I'm having my smoke, go again, games like that. Because of that, I cannot dedicate a lot of time to my games. So usually I play a little bit of the games, but I don't what is referred to clock them. I don't clock my games, you know what I mean? I don't like go to the end game unless it's something that really grabs my attention. So Soulstone Survivors was one of those games. I think I did previously a video which was called, I might put a link up, which was called Soulstone Survivors. Which was called the top 8 isometric games, and I think this one was like rank 3, 4, something like that. So it was quite of an interesting game, but it was not very, how can I say, it doesn't grab your attention straight away, at least from a graphical perspective, and that is because it is very simplistic, let's say, to the eye. But after I played quite a few hours into the game, at the moment, it's the top of my list of all top-down isometric survival slash rogue action like RPGs. I know it's a big mouthful, but you know, you can call it whatever. So this is the top one at the moment, and the reason why it has risen up the ranks, let's say, is because I dedicated a little bit more time. So like I said, I downloaded some extra games. I'm not going to make separate game reviews because I'm just bored, to say it simply. I'll mention, I'll probably put like an overlay up of 3 new games that I downloaded. I'll give some ratings to them. So one of them is Deathless. I think Deathless is for around 13-14 bucks somewhere on Steam. It was a good game, but it was not like within, let's say, the top 5. It didn't make it within the top 5. Gridland still remains to be very strong. Galactic Survivor still seems to be very strong. I'm not going to mention a lot, I don't want to confuse you. All these 3 games that I'm going to mention now, they didn't really rank hectically. The first one that I mentioned, Deathless, is mostly because of the depth. It didn't have enough depth. It was nice just as a, you know, kind of like an easy, let's say, game. Then there was the Kill Knight. Kill Knight was a very interesting game as well. That's around also 14. I think the first one is 10 bucks, the second one is 14. I've noted them down somewhere, but you know, anyway, if I remember correctly, around. Kill Knight was a little bit better, but I didn't like that it was very interactive. But for people that do like this genre and they want something that they can manually control, they will probably really love Kill Knight. Very nice, interesting, not exactly retro graphics. It's like pixel art, but it's new age, you can tell, but it's very interactive. So you have to move your mouse around, you gotta aim where enemies are. There's a lot of combination of skills, and there's a lot of activeness to it. So you gotta play with 2 hands, you gotta be there, you know what I mean? And part of the reason why it didn't rank to my personal top 5, let's say, is that exactly. Whereas to other people, they will say, perfect, that's what I wanted. And the last one that I bought is called HSS Reloaded. That was a little bit cheaper on the €7 on the Steam store, at least at the time of purchase. I don't remember if there was any discounts on these games, but I remember that's the price that I got it from. That one was also nice. It was much more appealing graphical wise. It had a sort of a weird, let's say, mecha looking robot. It did familiarize quite a bit with Gridland, but it was more like mechanical thing. So it was like it was a mix between mechanical, robotic and stuff like that. It was good, but again it was just like the same repeat version, let's say. So all these games, I'm not trying to put them down, it's just, let's say you play Gridland that I had played for a long time, and then you want a variation of that, then HSS Reloaded will be the game for you. So putting those three aside, these are just like some new, let's say, call them honorable mentions or whatever you want to call them. I started playing again a little bit of the other games, like dedicating 1 hour on this one, 1 hour on that one. One of the ones that I always wanted to get back into was Soulstone Survivors. So Soulstone Survivors grabbed my attention more, and it was the only one that has the depth that I will showcase in this video. Just a heads up, it is going to be a little bit of a lengthy video. I am going to try to get through it as quick as possible, but there is quite a lot of information. So, at the time of the video, Soulstone Survivors, in my personal opinion, is the top game of its genre. It's very nice graphics, let's say, simplistic, not a lot of polygons, so low on the polygon count, let's say, but nice aesthetic design. And the reason why it has won top position is because of its depth. It's very deep in the game. It's got a lot of things. You can dedicate a lot of hours, a lot of replayability, and I think this is part of the component which is missing sometimes in these games. A lot of developers that make games, they tend to forget their roots, let's say, which is having fun. And what does having fun mean? It means having a lot of things to do again and again and again. You don't have to increase the skill base in order to make a game more challenging, let's say. And many companies, where they go down that path, they kind of lose the fun factor. It becomes too challenging and less rewarding. This game has done a perfect balance. It's got enough content for you to push, it's got enough difficulty within the game, and it does not forget to be fun. And when I say fun, I mean making it OP, finding something which is like crazy, and doing that until you just have fun, you know what I mean? You can literally make builds in this game that you just AFK, they go spastic. I mean, and that's the intriguing component. And you can do this with many builds. I've done it with one build so far that I dedicated most of my time. Like I said, I'm not a full-time gamer, you know what I mean? It's the time that I have, but obviously I have dedicated possibly the last 4 days, an average of 3 hours per day. It was the weekend as well, we were more relaxed, we didn't have many things to do, so that's just to put in your mind of how much time that has this dedicated. So I will play through the game, and because I want to try to keep it a little bit shorter, I'm going to possibly fast forward on some sections. We'll see how we go about it. So Soulstone Survivors, let's get into it. Let's start the game. You go straight away to this section here, which is the fight. I will speak a little bit quickly, so if you want to slow pause everything and replay it, and I'll try to give as much information as possible. So this is your greeting screen, let's say. We have selected the barbarian. You can spin it around, low on polygon count as I mentioned. You can see specific stats on the right hand side and specific runes that you have selected. If you go to the fight, then you're greeted with different stages. So at the moment there's 5 different stages. You can see their name at the top. I can click through them, and on each one of the stages you will see 100% completion and some ranks. These are referred to the curses of the void. You can disable it if you don't want, and it will minimize both the rewards and the challenge level, or you can enable, and by selecting different components here, you're actually increasing the curse intensity. In other words, let's just them here, in other words, the rewards. If we hover over, we'll see what we're getting. We've got additional enemy health. These are all the different things, but we're getting a lot of rewards, and the rewards on the bonuses on the right hand side. A lot of resources, a lot of prestige, which is your level. When we say 600% prestige level is how much you can level up your characters. So you get a lot of bonuses the more you push them. And there's different selections, you know what I mean? In order for you to trigger one curse level, for example, this stage number 1, then you need to reach 4 out of 4. So you can select these 4, and each one of them hovering over will have a description. Reduces all healings received, explosive goblins will now appear early in the match, and so forth and so forth. You can select more. You can go 5 out of 4, and if you go 5 out of 4, it will make some difference on the rewards. So this is stage 1. This is in curse level 2, level 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is the last. At the moment of this video, it's the last level is the number 7. I have not completed all, so as far as progress goes, there is a lot more for me to do, but I have completed quite a few. This is a little bit of an overview of the and one thing to forget and not to forget is the Unholy Cathedral. So the Unholy Cathedral is a different mode. I've only played this first one, and I have unlocked this one. You get a vast amount of resources here. And when you enter a stage, just to give a bit of an explanation of that as well, when you enter a stage, you start basically with going from top down and fighting different hordes that approach you. Depends on your on what you have selected in order for your character. I mean, in other words. And then once you finish the stage, so there's a counter that it says kill this many enemies. You kill the enemies, you fight a boss. You can control how you're going to fight this boss. Let's say you fight the boss, and then you go to the next section, and the next section, and the next section. Out of default, you have 5 bosses to kill, and once you kill all of them, then a stage can be considered completed. Once the stage is completed, you're greeted with 3 different portals. There's a red one, a blue one, and there's a purple one. The blue one will take you back to town, so you will complete your objective and go back to town, and you can play again and again. The red one is the chaos mode. I think it's called the chaos mode, which basically it's like a short version of the stage. You appear on a little circular stage where you fight a lot of mobs, similar to the previous, but instead of having a map, so as you can see here, there's different maps. You know, I mean, this is like a desert, this is one's got like a darker look, this is like a forest, this is a nice stage, and this is like a dungeon. Instead of having that, you have a circular stage where you get bombarded with a lot of enemies. It's much quicker, and then you fight the bosses as well. So usually this is, depends on what you want to do. You want to gather resources, you want to get XP, you will play different things across the game. And then there's the infinity mode, which is basically pretty much like the standard thing, but it will just be infinite. So you will select a different stage and a different stage, so instead of coming in the menu, you will go straight away into it like that. That's as much as the gameplay. So I'm trying to explain, and another reason why I wanted to do this video is because some information might not be available. So as I'm going through the sections, I'll try to explain as much as possible of what is going on. I have not seen a proper beginner guide, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, however minutes, that will take you from point A to point all the way to the end quickly without spending a lot of time in showcasing. So a lot of guys that do a lot of gameplay, and they don't explain the mechanics. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to explain the mechanics, and I'm going to at the end show a little bit of a gameplay and just give you an idea of how much you can do like tricky things in the game. Which is the only game that I have seen that has this much depth, and that's why I liked it. So this is the introduction, this is what you play, these are the stages. We'll go to the second component now, which is the characters. These are the different characters. You have a selection here. I don't know if my overlay is going to be on top of the left hand side. You have your different classes. You have the level at the top here, which is indicated by stars underneath. So 130 is this guy that I've played the most. 123 is my second character, this one here, which is the Sentinel. He's like a bow guy. Another guy that I played quite a bit is this guy, 54, 58, 51, there's different characters that you unlock, and at the beginning you only have one or two, I can't remember how many exactly. There's different things that you need to complete, objectives, which when you hover over one of these, it will tell you on the right hand side, you gotta do this in order to unlock it. It's quite straightforward on what you need to do. So these are the different characters, and when you select a character, for example the Barbarian, I'm going to showcase the Barbarian, but there's many different ones, and it's not like one class is better than the other. Whatever you can do with one class, you can do with the other. You want to go crazy and go like really spastic, you can do it with any class. Depends on what you like, and that's another thing that I like. So all the classes are balanced. It's not like this one is the best one, this one's the worst one. No, they're all balanced, they're nicely done. And it's interesting mechanics, and basically you select on how you want to play. The reason, if you ask me, why did you select the Barbarian, is because he's more of the passive style, and because I'm very casual, he's more relaxed. So in order for me to explain why he's more relaxed, we're going to discuss it further when we get to the skill tree. So once you have your character, you can unlock different weapons. Each weapon gives you specific skills. So we have Whirlwind on your first weapon. Once you reach level 20, I believe, you unlock the second one, which has a shockwave. Then you unlock this one level 50. On level 70, you select this one. Depending on the weapon, you have different skills which are used, and different elements which are shown at the top here. So this is slash, this is earth, and so forth and so forth. You can have a look at the skills also here. This is going to give you a good overall display of the weapon skills. So it's got all the different weapon skills here and what each one of these does. And there's a question mark. I don't know what the question mark is. Maybe there's a surprise in the game. So that's why I say there's a lot of content here. Then you have your character skills. So the Barbarian has this type of character skills. And if you scroll down, you have general skills. And this can be, whatever, depending on the class that you can select. And you have some appearances that you can unlock. Please purchase all those non-balanced skill tree. Okay, so it gives you a description of how to unlock it as well. There's your default look, and you probably unlock a new look as well. So this is an overview of the character screen. We're going to go by selecting each one of these. You select and you see a checkbox here, so this is how you know. And by changing the weapons, like I want to play with this guy, this weapon for example, it's locked. This weapon cannot be crafted yet. This one is locked. If you want a second weapon, select it. This is the green stuff you go to fight, and your selection remains. So let's go back to this guy. We select our third weapon, select, we'll go back here. Okay, before we go any further, I want to talk about the resources. You see at the top of the screen, there's a couple of crystals looking things. On the left hand side, the blue ones, which is 87,000 at the moment, 807,000 is like your money, let's say, your most common currency. And then you have different crystals, which you needed in order to use to do up your skill tree, unlock characters, level up different unlock weapons. They're used for different things. Each one of these crystals you can collect by playing the game. Then you have the blacksmith. So if you go to the blacksmith here, for example, and you can select which character you want to see. We have the Barbarian. You see the 3 different weapons. So the 4 different weapons. So you have this weapon, and it tells you the materials in order for you to craft it. You have your second weapon, third weapon, and fourth weapon. Once you unlock all the weapons, this is another thing that was not explained. Once you unlock all the weapons, you can further enhance and do up the weapons that you want additionally. So if you pay attention, this is level 3. So I've upgraded this weapon 3 times, 4 times, and 2 times. At the moment, the one that I've upgraded the most and I like is this one here, the Tempest Blades. And why? Is because it has a specific stats on the right hand side. So damage wise, they're quite similar, but what each one of the bonuses which is offered on the weapon changes. The first one that you begin, it gives you critical chance, area modifier, and multicast chance. The second one that you unlock gives you critical damage, armor, and fast frequency, and less movement speed. So it's got a little bit of utility, a little bit of defense, a little bit of damage. This one, if you pay attention, it's mostly damage. Critical chance, critical damage, and movement speed, and less pushback power, which I don't get, and this is why I chose this one. And the last one, it's more defensive. It's got maximum health, armor, area modifiers, you more area, and less movement. So you're more defensive, less movement. You can select whichever one of these weapons suits best your game style. If you're going to take, for example, this weapon and level it up to level 10, it will become possibly stronger than this one on level +1. I don't know what the end game of these weapons is as far as levels go. I have seen people that have taken it to +200s, so there's a lot of upgrading to do. And every time you upgrade it, the materials change that you need. So for example, for this one here, I need 4 out of 7. This one says it can be found in the remains of so and so. So I need to farm that map in order for me to get more resources. If I'm going to focus on this weapon, this one is going to demonite. It is farmed out of the Dungeon of Despair, for example. Again, similar. So slowly, you go through the game like that. Another thing is that you saw previously on the initial screen is the runes. So it says your runes. This rune number here will increase based on your level as you level up and getting more bonus, and you select specific runes that you can be saved to the different slots that will dictate your gameplay and what strategy you're following. In order for you to activate the runes, we go to the rune page, and here you will see all the runes. At the top is versatility, and at the bottom is tendency. So you have two lines. You have these 3 squares at the top, and you have these 4 squares at the top. Maximum you can equip is 4 skills, and 3 at the top. The top 3 do not require any points, so I'm trying to explain how this works. The bottom 4 skills require rune points. So I'm 8 out of 9. I have 1 left point. So you gotta manage which ones you put below. If you have a look, and you can have a look at this one here, for example, runic power cost 0. So these ones at the top here, they don't cost anything. At the moment I've got 3 and I'm full, and we'll talk about the specific one at the end. So at the moment we cannot equip anymore. If we go down here, for example, let's select this one here. If you have a look, it says runic power cost 2. Let's select which one that we have not. Runic power cost 3. Runic power cost 3. So if I want to, let's say, go 9 out of 9, I have to possibly unselect this one, runic power cost 2, and select this one. So if I remove this one here and I add this one here, it's going to be 9 out of 9. The goal is not to go 9 out of 9. The goal is to select 4 runes which better fit your build and what bonuses that you get. As you can see on my screen, many of them are locked. Some of these get unlocked as you level up characters, as you progress through the skill tree and everything. I'm going to skip the skill tree, and I'm going to go a little bit to the achievements because it's much more simpler. So at the achievements, you see basically what you unlock at the moment. We're 169 out of 353. So like I said, there's many more things to do. And on the profile, you see an overall display of your character, your progression, what is happening, the overview, how many matches you've done. Then you can see match details specifically with what characters you've played, and you can go to characters as well. So the 2 most characters that I've played, as you can see, 36 matches with the Barbarian and 35 matches with the Sentinel. So these guys are like the top guys, and it shows all the rest of the statistics, and you can categorize them with different things. So now let me light up my smoke. We're going to go to the skill tree, and this is the surprising factor. When I first began, this is the skill tree. Okay, you can zoom it out. First of all, it looks awesome. Second of all, because I'm a Path of Exile player, looking at this is very familiar. I'm going to try to center it. Now, what I did not realize when I first played the game, and possibly this is like something for the developers, is all these areas around here were all hidden. So the skill tree, to me, it seemed as if it's this area here. And all these are question marks. They were like that. Question marks, question marks, question marks, question marks. When you hovered over the question mark, let's say this was a question mark, there was a message saying out of 95 skill points, it said 70 out of 95. So all the question marks around had an indication that you had to like get to 95 skill points. I did not understand what this was. Yeah, this is basically all the skill points that you put in here. So if you count all the skill points that you start, you have like a more of a healing offensive component, which is on the left hand side. You have a defense component, which is here, and you have a utility component, which is here. Movement speed, if you mouse over them, you will see what they do. So you're clicking, increase your movement speed by an additional 5%. 5% because it's got 5 levels. Once you level up all these skills to 5 out of 5 each one, then the rest of the screen unlocks, and then you will see what is happening, and you can actually spec into each one of these classes. It's quite big. Okay, these lines here, it just means that this guy, for example, this guy here, his tree is this one, and this guy's tree goes all the way to here, and will unlock this section here. Some of them are hidden, so if you see this mist here, it's hidden. This one has been fully unlocked with this guy here, but it has not been leveled up full. You know what I mean? The guy that I've done the most is this guy down here, the barbarian. So let's have a look at the barbarian at the moment. At the moment, the barbarian, this section is fully done up. We have this skill which is missing, a couple of points. We have this skill which is missing, this one, and this section here. So there's a couple of things which are missing. And from level 20 and above, so let's say your character is level 30, if you mouse over it will show you. If your character is level 30, then you will have 10 skill points for you to put in each one of these. And how you level each one of these skills is a mixture of all the resources at the top. So you might go level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of, let's say, this skill here, and then when you get to later progression, you might say you need 3 red crystals, the crystals up here. So you need a little bit of all the resources. To give an example, if I click on this one, it says increase purchase to level 5, 2,200 of this common currency. If I go into one of these guys here, I don't know if I've got one guy that might show. Let me go like this. This is maximum. No, this one. Yeah. Most of the initial stages of this will be money, and then when you get to a little bit further down, it will unlock and require for you crystals. So this is your skill tree, and this is how you further enhance your character, make them stronger, make them behave different. Now, an interesting thing with this is each one of these characters that you select that you don't know at the beginning has a special trait, and I'm going to talk for an example for the sentinel. The sentinel, the first skill point is this one here. So if you pay attention, these ones have got some special icons on each one of these classes, the first one, and they enable a specific mechanic. Just to give an understanding, for this guy here, it enables Nature's Guardian. So the sentinel is a range guy, he's a bow guy. Once you enable that skill, in the stage that you're playing, there's a specific tiger which will appear from time to time. So as you're fighting your enemies, the tiger will appear. You gotta go close to your tiger, you capture it, there's a line to it, you capture it, and you climb on your tiger. Once you get on top of your tiger, you become stronger, faster, then you get all these additional benefits based on your starting new trait. So it really changes the gameplay. And if you ask me why did you prefer the barbarian, it's because the barbarian has one of the most passive, the Rage Unleashed. So basically with the barbarian, as you're fighting and you're killing guys, meaning you don't have to chase and do something on the stage, at some point of time, you, based on your kills, you gain sort of stats, let's say, and you become bigger and stronger. So you don't have to worry about any other mechanic, and that is the one out of all the classes, it's one of the simplest classes, let's say, that I've seen. There are other classes as such, but some of them you need to move around. For example, just to give another sort of thing, this guy here is the Necromancer. For the Necromancer, this is the skill that he has, reanimation. You can read the description, but I'm going to quickly mention what it does. Basically, Once you enable that skill, as you're fighting with a necromancer and you're killing enemies, you will see body parts like big chunks of meat dropping on the floor that you have to walk over. You gather them, so you pick them up when you walk over them, and then slowly as you gather pieces of meat of the enemies, you build this big sentinel guy that he will appear, and after a certain amount of time he will die off. So it changes your game style. This class, for example, you gotta keep your eye out on the stage as you're killing enemies and go over and gather the things. So the more engaging a character is, or the less engaging the character is, you know what I mean? Each one of these classes has its own thing. Some are more passive, some are more active. Depends on how you like to play. So this is an introduction. I've explained all the things of what a game is like. And now I'm going to go to a specific thing just to showcase how OP, let's say, the game can become when you want to take it to that thing. So what I've done with the Barbarian that I really liked, and I found another online guide. Obviously I did not create this on top of my head. I found another online guide, I had a look at it, I see how it worked, and I changed it a bit to my liking. So the way that I'm playing with the Barbarian is the follows. And at this point, the introduction of the game has been completed. So for whoever wants to tune out and doesn't want to get spoilers, or he doesn't want, you can, tune out. From now on, it's going to be the gameplay, let's say, demonstration. So this guy is the Barbarian. For the Barbarian, I really liked the skill which was given by his first weapon. His first weapon's skill was the whirlwind, spin around. So I really like this skill, but I like this weapon's statistics. So what I've done with this guy is I have selected his two axes here, and I have gone into the rune page, and I have enabled this rune page. So start the game with 1 skill point and 5 rerolls, but without your weapon's basic skill. So because I like those two axes for the critical damage, but I did not like their initial skill, when you first start the stage, you're going to begin without your basic attack. In other words, without your without these skills here. Thundering Slash. Thundering Slash is not going to be available because I have selected this rune to make it not available, but you're going to get you're going to select a specific skill that you have, and you have 5 re-rolls, meaning that you can re-roll what is your initial skill. Additionally to that, I have also selected this, so allows you to choose up to 5 different skills which will not be by default available to you. And what I have selected there is, as can be seen, the whirlwind. So the skill of the first weapon, but I added on the third weapon. So there's a lot of combinations and strange things that you can do. The other thing that I've added is I get 1 extra reroll every 5 levels. That's just going to help me to select better. So once you level up as you're killing enemies, you're going to get a selection of 3 different things. And when you have a reroll, you can actually reroll more. And the things that I'm using on my actual runes is I'm getting less damage. This is a defensive rune. I'm getting the possibility to create a long chain. I'm getting the Decapitator, which is giving me it kills enemies off more quickly, let's say. And I have the Critical Master, which again further enhances the weapon that I'm using. So I'm focused on critical, let's say. And this is how I build my character. Now, the reason why you do this, and I will explain as we go through in the game and as I demonstrate, is depending on the skills that you select, there's specific triggers and the specific defensive things that you can enable or disable. Let's go so we can actually save time through, and let's do a fight. I'm going to select the first stage, and what I would like to do in this first stage, to keep it simple, is I'm going to, since this is going to be a demonstration, we'll make it a little bit easier, and I will unselect some of these things. All these things will carry across to a stage when we play it. So we'll keep this as simple as possible. I don't want to bore anybody. Okay, so what I did is I unselected a little bit of the difficulty to keep it more simple. So initially you will have a skill down here. In my case, I do not have a skill, but I can actually banish, which means I can totally remove a couple of skills that I don't like, and I can re-roll. What I'm going to do at the moment here is explain a little bit about the skills. I'm going to banish this skill here because I don't like it, and I'm going to leave this one here. So this is a good selection, initial selection. Different skills behave in different ways. There's a double slash, a quick strike, and a resonance. Then an explanation on each one of these. There's an explanation of the damage. What I have found in this build, in this specific build, is specific components which synergize together in order for you to achieve becoming almost invincible. So you can AFK this character, not do nothing, and not die. But in order to do that, you have to use specific sort of combinations. So one of the things that we're trying to get, and I'm going to select this skill here, is we're trying to get bulwark and finesse. Finesse is going to allow us to perform additional multicast, and bulwark is going to provide us block. So when we are able to block a lot, we're not going to be able to die, let's say. We're trying to get bulwark and finesse. Later on, we're also going to select this skill, but I'm not going to select it now, which is a form and a haste, which will allow us to give more critical chance and additional movement speed. So we will be able to move quick, and we'll be able to have additional critical chance. And then there's another couple of other skills that I'll explain as we go through them. So the first one that we're going to select is the double slash. So we start here, these were the 3 portals, and he starts automatically moving around. The mouse, you can actually move it on the side, and all the enemies will come towards you. So you're moving around slowly. The graphics, you can actually change how evident they become. I will show this a little bit. So for this one, for example, we're going to get multicast. Let me press escape and go to settings. In settings, if we go to the skill selection, to the where is it? The graphics, and we go special effects visibility. If we put this full and we say close and resume, you will be able to see the effect of my skills very evident. So you see the slashes, you see everything that is happening much more evident. Let's banish a couple that we don't want. This is a very good one, bulwark and form, so we select this. So you can really see, because it's going to go crazy, slowly, what I like to do, you can see the skills more evident, the spikes are coming out. It depends how you like to live it. Now we're going on the berserker mode. We're going to go this one, and you can see the skills much more evident. And at the bottom you see the our bar, which slowly fills up. So the crystals that you pick up, they will give you more level, and as you can see at the bottom, you're almost good to level 6. So on level 6, we're here. Let's do a couple of banishes. Thundering slash, we're not interested in this. We are looking for the whirlwind. Okay, so the whirlwind, there we are, whirlwind. Again, why I like the whirlwind a lot? Because it gives me bulwark, so defense, and finance, which is offense. What does this give me? Bulwark and finance. So these are 2 active skills that are both giving me bulwark. So they're giving me defense, block chance, and they're giving me offense. Let's select this. We'll keep on going. Let me also minimize a little bit the visibility as I did before. So usually I like to keep them around there. Special effects visibility, keep it around there. Close, resume. So you can see the lines, but very faintly. We'll keep on going through it. I might fast forward some of these places, like I said, and I will talk mostly about the important things. Okay, so we'll go back to normal speed. Just to explain. So what you saw now is I went through the stage really quickly. This initial part of the stage, you have to go through it. You cannot go straight away to the endless mode if you don't enable, let's say, the first stage component. Now I'm going to go and explain a little bit more what I did, where we are, and what we're trying to do. We have enabled specific skills at the moment which synergize one with each other. And now we're going to go to the red portal. So the blue portal is going to take us back home and end. The infinite portal is basically like this stage that we just played, but instead of at the end of it, to select to go in and out, you're just endlessly going through the different stages, and you might change which stages. You might be in the desert, in the winter, we'll just keep on going. The red one is the one that we're talking about now, which is going to be like an endless boss mode, let's say. At the moment we're level 55 at the bottom, you can see it. My thing might be over it, but it's level 55, the bar I mean. And we have selected a couple of skills. And this is the interesting thing now that is happening with the skills. If you pay attention above my character, there's a little icon here. So as you move the screen, this one around, you see that there's an icon which says 20. When we're going to go through the stage, I'm going to sort of speak also. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and then whenever we get to specific skills, I'm going to go normal speed and explain of what is going on. So what we're trying to do now is we've got our main skills, and I'm going to go through each one of them and explain them. So the first one is double slash. The double slash is going to cause damage around us, and it's going to give us the defense, which is bulwark, and finesse, which is going to be multicast. So it's a defensive and offensive skill. There's a second skill that also gives us bulwark and finesse. It's going to do a whirlwind around us, and again it's going to give us those two stats. So the first two stats that we're trying to gather is bulwark and finesse. How many times we're going to be able to cast, and how defensive we're going to get on the block chance. The two other skills that we're using is on guard, that again is a damaging skill, but it's going to give us bulwark, so one of the defensive things, and it's going to give us form, and form is going to be on offensive. So if you pay attention, we're trying to work offensive defensive or utility offensive. We're doing it like a combination. This is going to give us more critical. So we got two skills which gives us multicast and bulwark. We have the third skill which gives us more defense, but now we're going to go into the critical component. And you can do different combinations. This is just what I thought. Like I had a look at the guide. He was using some other skills. He was not using whirlwind. He was not using this. And then I thought to myself, okay, what skills can I use which have finesse and bulwark? And I mean, I found this one and this one. So I selected this one from the first weapon, and I used this one. So I've changed it a little bit. You can change it however you like. And the other skill that we're using, which is again going to give us a little bit of utility and damage, is sharp spear. So sharp spear is going to give us more critical, but a very interesting thing here is as we hit, we're going to get haste. And if you paid attention, when you begin the game, you move very slowly. So if I move my character around, look how slow I move. But as I'm going to play through the game, you're going to see an icon above my head, which is going to be the little boots, which is going to be the haste, and that's going to climb up and up and up and up and up, which means that I'm going to be able to start moving quicker and quicker and quicker. So because of that haste, you don't need to worry anything about movement speed. You don't need to worry about spending your levels on things which are utility, because you're getting it from one skill, and you're getting damage as well, and it's a damaging skill. The other thing which is very tricky here, and we need to further mention it, is this one here, Scent of Blood. This skill is very, very important to the barbarian. So the more finesse you get, the more finesse you get, the more you become even faster, you know what I mean? So finesse in itself does like a multicast. So instead of casting a skill once, let's say you have 50% of multicast, there's 50% chance that when you do a whirlwind, you might do another whirlwind. So that's multicast. And cast frequency is how fast can you do it. So how fast can you cast your skills? This Scent of Blood by itself, because every time you get finesse, and we have two skills which gives us finesse, it's going to increase further our damage. So that's a crazy buff in itself. Then we have the last one, which is survivability. So this one here, it says you gain resilience. So resilience in itself is armor power. We are trying to get some upgrades, and I will stop the game when those upgrades come, that as we are getting finesse, we should also get resilience. As we're getting finesse, we should also trigger something else. So there's a lot of multi-triggering skills, and these are the skills that we're trying to slowly, you know, be able to work on them. Now, if you pay attention, this skill is an earth skill. So an earth skill, and it's also healing us. So it says orbs are rotating and causing damage and healing you. Now, this one has a cooldown of 6.9 seconds. If we can multicast this, or we can trigger the casting of this by another skill, we're going to have uptime on these 3 number of orbs, the charges which heal us, more often. Now if you pay attention here on the left hand side, and my portrait might be over, I don't know, we'll see. If it is, then I'm going to just speak and I'll explain to what each one of these things does. Let me find it first of all. Not this one. Not this one. Did we not get it? This one. Whenever you cast a skill of type thrust, you have a chance of casting another one of your current skills with a type earth. These are the skill chains that we were mentioning before. So thrust and earth. This is a thrust skill, so I'm doing a thrust skill. This is a swing skill. This is a swing skill. This is also a thrust skill. So we've got 2 swings and 2 thrust skills. Every time we do a sharp spear or an on guard, we have a chance, a low chance at the moment, to trigger an earth skill, which is the defensive. So as we're doing things, it's triggering additional stuff. The end goal is that with all these synergies, you're triggering offensive, defensive, and all these crazy things to basically literally make you invincible. Be able to AFK, take as much damage as possible without dying, because you're continuously healing, become very, very fast movement skill wise, and cause a lot of damage. So that is it, a bit of an explanation of where we are at the moment. I'm going to initiate the red portal, the skull, and we're going to go through this mode, and I'm going to pause the video when we get to a point that we have already become kind of invincible, let's say, just for you to see what's happening. And also I'm going to enable what I disabled before, the graphics, so you can really see how crazy it goes. Epilepsy warning to everybody. So you go to this portal, and let's skip through it quickly, and I'll pause the video again when there's something to say. Okay, so I think this is a good point to discuss of what's going on in explain. So as you can see the screen, everything is going crazy. I'm literally playing with one hand. I am invincible. I'm not dying. I'm selecting different skills. I've used all my rerolls, almost all my rerolls. Let's reroll a little bit more. Attack speed is a good one. So what you see now on the stage, first of all, the whole screen is filled up. That's because of the area effect. Second thing you will see, as I'm moving around, the bosses are getting destroyed. So that's the boss's bar at the top. I'm just sitting here and he's destroyed. That's it. So it's very powerful. We're on 183 level at the moment, and we're climbing up slowly. It is getting a little bit more tricky and difficult, let's say. The things which you're seeing, and the reason why I cannot die, if you pay attention around me, there's a little, let's say, there's a little sort of a fence of shields. Each one of those shields is basically healing me. So at the moment we have 245 health, and we got a lot of these shields because they are self-casting, first of all, and second of all, they are continuously, let's say, where's the boss? I can't even see the boss. It's going so crazy. That's why I put effects low, so I can see what's going on. So we're destroying the boss, we're destroying everything, we're not dying. All these elements are going around and around in a continuous manner. I'm going to pause a little bit just to sort of show you what's happening. So if you pay attention, actually unpause, at the top of my character there are some icons, the icons of the buffs. If you pay attention, there's a lot of numbers. So there are like 600, 300, 400, if you see the stacks. 600, 700, 500, okay, let's pause it. What does each one of those do? First of all, critical chance. Here where we escape, we can see our stats. Critical chance, we have 712%. Critical damage, 648. This is all the buffs that are working together. Movement speed, 672% movement speed. So even if you have one movement speed, we're running 672% of that. Therefore, you don't need any buffs. Why is my screen so big? Because I've selected area of effect. Why am I doing so much damage? Because I've selected the critical and the damage things. How defensive am I? So besides the fact that I've got all these shields around which actually heal me, so each one of those shields is going to hit an enemy, it's going to create damage, and it's going to heal me. Besides the healing factor that I also have a block chance. Now my block power is coming from the bulwark. So this block power is at 822. At the moment, I have 87% chance, which is quite high, to block an attack, which means 0 damage. So not only I can block, not only I'm getting my health back, and I've got a big health pool, but I'm literally invincible. And the way that these are all working is all the synergies that I mentioned before. So we're getting bulwark, we're getting finesse. We're getting bulwark, we're getting finesse. We're getting form and bulwark again. We're getting movement speed and form. We are getting the defensive element and resilience. Resilience is also adding to our armor power. So the block power and the armor power is also something. So armor power, for example, here your current armor reduces the damage by 84%. So not only we get less damage, we have a percentage to block the damage, and we have a healing factor as well. And then finally we get the finesse, which gives us additional damage. So we have like a little nice buff. And the actual passive of the berserker, which is this one here. If you pay attention, it's always lighted up. That's the berserker mode. So as we kill, we get additional damage modifier, we get additional armor power and movement speed. So all of these things synergize quickly, nicely together with them. The only thing that you need to keep your mind at if you're going to follow this build, which is hilarious. I mean, you're literally just AFKing and nothing can kill you forever, you know what I mean? And then from then and on, you can actually push the difficulty more and more and more and more and more to actually level up your character. One of the interesting things and the way that we have managed to do this is, I'm going to go through them and just to give some hints on what is important. We have our synergies, just you doing nothing, already you're getting all these things. But to further improve on this, there's some synergy skills that you need to keep your mind out, and we're going to go through them. I don't remember them all by heart. One of them is the skill chain. So every time you swing, you can cause an earth. We have 14% chance. 14% chance is quite big. Another nice synergy skill is this one here. Every time you apply haste, you have a chance to get finesse. How much? 25%. 25% chance again is good, and we're applying haste and finesse. So all these skills that I'm going to showcase now, you realize that they work together, and that's how you can get those numbers to be like 600, 300, 500. That is how all these synergies, you're able on the right hand side to be invincible and do a lot of damage. Let's go through another one. Every time you apply finesse, you get a chance of bulk work. So again, 25% chance to get an additional defensive element every time you apply an offensive element. All these things work intertwined. Another one, lethal celerity. Every time you apply form, you get more movement speed. So we're applying form, we're applying bulk, we're applying all of these things. Again, this is an interesting one. For each skill that does not have the thrust type, improve the multicast chance of the other skills. So because we're using sweeps, we're using thrusts, 2 sweeps, 2 thrusts, and 2 defensive utility, let's say, those 2 thrusts buff the damage of the non-thrust. Every time you get bulwark, you get aptitude. Aptitude is a new sort of thing, and this is the only source that we're getting aptitude, which additionally increases our critical damage. Let's go through them quickly. I don't see. Again, we have a 58% chance every time we do a thrust skill to cause our earth. That's why we see it's going crazy with all the shields around us. Again, it improves the thrust of weapons, of non-thrust weapons. Every time we do a swing, we have a chance to do a thrust. So these skills are intertwined and inter-triggering. That's why you see the screen go crazy and become really, what's going on. Again, we're improving skills without swing every time for the 2 swings that we have. Similar thing again here, similar thing again here. So you can pause the video and have a look at what's going on. And finally, again, every time we do a thrust, we have a swing. So these are all the different skills that I've got. At the moment, I can't go further. I've noticed that when the level gets to around 230 something, I stop doing damage. I don't die. I'm just stationary in the screen, and the bar and the boss bar goes a little bit slowed down. So that takes a long time. In those circumstances, you're better off leaving the game. So just to showcase a little bit again what that looks like. Resume. I'm staying in the middle. I'm not touching anything. Look at my bar at the bottom. It's climbing. I'm getting damaged all over the place. I'm getting pushed also. I'm healing myself quickly. I'm gaining levels just by sitting here. Let's do this. Why not? The boss has spawned. Its life bar shows at the top. He got destroyed. Okay. Dead. Okay. Let's just click that. The buffs are going crazy. I'm not dying. Look how fast my level is going up. And there's other things that you can increase. You know what I mean? The fact that I've gotten to this stage, every time you apply haste, you have a chance to get finesse. Already we had this, it was a 1%. Now we're going to have 2. So 2% to get additional finesse. All these things are going to, you know, help us out. Now the enemies, if you pay attention, they started getting slow. So if you see the bars on these guys that are approaching, they're not dying straight away, they're going slower. And I've enabled a couple of things, but the stage is quite simple at the moment. So the boss has become, yeah, we're just gathering crystals, the boss has spawned. Now the bar is getting slower, you see what I mean? Area modifier, why not, make it bigger. You can increase your magnet size as well, so you don't have to worry about anything. You just sit and just grab things. Damage increase. So basically now all you're doing is just following, and you're continuously adding more damage, more damage, more damage. If you pick the right choices and you have the right skills, you might be able to push it quite a bit. Like now with that damage increase that I've got, I am seeing that they're dying a little bit quicker. You know what I mean? Multicast. Multicast is always good. So this additionally is buffing up our thing. And you can move around. The movement speed is crazy, like you see me move around. This is how fast I'm going. So the stage is just a circular thing, you know what I mean? So it is really going crazy. The boss is out. I cannot see where he is. And this is where I like to go to the settings, graphics, and just drop this to about there. Close, resume. So like this. Now you can see what's happening. You can see where the enemies are, you can see where the boss is. There's the boss. He's doing his things. The red indications are, you know, damage things. And we killed them. That was the 5th boss. And now the portals are going to appear. If you want to keep on going, which I might, you're going to go on the red portal. If you want to go back to your town, you go to the blue portal. So this is, I know it's a long video. I don't know how I'm going to, you know, quickly skip through some of the parts to keep it short, but I did want to do like a full review, gameplay review, specific builds, specific combination synergies, the depth of the game, the skill tree, how much crazy you can push it. And this is just one character. There's so many characters that you show, there's so many stages, there's so many builds, and there's so many variations, and there's so many different weapons on each one of these guys. How can I get my character better? For example, after I've gone to this point, which is quite crazy on the barbarian, he's literally like becoming an invincible god. Now I can focus on the barbarian to gather resources. So figure out where specific resources in order to upgrade my weapons, gather a lot of those resources, and start upgrading my weapons. So this is the next process that we're going through. And when you get all the resources, it also helps your other characters as well. Having a lot of resources, you're going to be able to craft easier weapons on your other guys. So let's say you have a guy that you really like. You like the necromancer because of the minions, but he's not doing a lot of damage. Play the game with this guy, gather the resources, go to the necromancer, and upgrade his weapon a lot. You get a lot of statistics, and then you can enjoy the other class as well because you just like it. So I'd like to thank everybody. I do apologize for the length of the video. It was quite big, but at the moment this is one of the games that, like I said, I spent like so much time now just playing it. Super fun. It's got that crazy element that you can really go OP, and I've seen other guys with other builds like ranger builds and stuff that they can really go crazy. It's nice, it's hilarious, it has a challenging factor into it as well, and it's beautiful, and you know, I recommend it to everybody. This is a great game. Anyway, I'll try to keep the video short, so I thank you everybody for your time, and I'll bid you just goodbye. Have a good day. Bye bye.